Want better skin? Drink more water. Your skin doesn't look so good. Are you drinking enough water? Have a skin problem? Oh, you just need to drink more water. We have all heard it at least once, if not time and time and time again. Is it really necessary to drink more water to have the skin of your dreams? If so, how much water should we be drinking? Like how many liters? Pinpoint it down. Let's get one thing crystal clear. There is not a single skin problem, skin disorder, skin issue, skin concern that will be corrected, rectified, improved upon, alleviated, erased by simply the act of drinking more water. Anytime someone tells you that, they are just speaking gibberish. But what about dry skin? What about dehydrated skin? What about flaky peely skin? No, drinking more water is not the answer to those issues. If it were that simple, dermatology clinics would essentially just be hooking people up to IVs to improve their hydration status, and boom, everybody would be walking around with clear, radiant skin. But that's not how it works. Now, water is vital for life. Without water, we die. And it's critically important for a variety of pivotal functions for the maintenance, integrity, and overall health of our skin. I talk about this all the time, but the water content in your outermost stratum corneum is vital for maintenance of the protective skin barrier. The enzymes in your skin don't function properly if the water content drops. But here's the thing, you don't replace that water content by simply taking in more water. The reason that water content drops and leads to skin issues has to do with things that happen from the outside or underlying issues unique to your skin barrier, like having a deficiency in filaggrin, a key protein in skin's outermost layer. True dehydration, like you are found down on the ground, not responsive, end up in the ICU, critically ill, you are dehydrated. We need IV fluids going right away, stat, or this person is not going to make it. Along with that is not more pimples, it's not rosacea flares, skin tenting. You pinch the skin and if it stays tented, that is a sign of dehydration. But trust me when I say this, if you are well enough, healthy enough to have made the conscious decision to click into this video, first of all, thank you, give it a thumbs up. Second of all, trust me, drinking more water likely is not the answer to any of your problems, your skin conditions, your skin concerns. But doesn't water flush out toxins that accumulate in your skin? No. Anyone who believes this fundamentally does not understand human physiology and needs to go back to school. Toxins are handled by your liver and filtered from the blood in your kidneys and excreted as urine. Your skin has nothing to do with the handling of toxins. Now that we got all of that out of the way, I want to emphasize water vital for life. You have to drink some water, otherwise, well, you die. You can't subsist off of zero water. And when humans don't get enough water, provided that they are otherwise healthy, they tend to get, well, thirsty, and provided they have access to water and are able to take it in, they drink it. It's pretty simple. Will drinking more water hurt you? Most likely not. However, you definitely can take in too much water. You can go overboard and cause severe life-threatening hyponatremia. Basically, you are taking in so much water that you dilute the sodium out in your blood and your electrolytes get all out of whack and your heart and your brain can't function properly. There are cases of people who end up with seizures because they got too hyper-focused on drinking a bunch of water. But in otherwise healthy people who have functioning kidneys, it takes roughly 20 liters of water to get to that toxic point. So how many liters of water do you need to drink a day? It's going to fall somewhere in between 0 liters and 20 liters. You'll hear arbitrary recommendations. The National Academy of Medicine recommends that men consume roughly 3 liters of water a day and women consume a little over 2 liters of water a day. But honestly, it's not as though that recommendation is based on solid research. A lot of our daily water needs are also going to be influenced by our environment, our activity level, how much we're sweating, the foods that we are eating. Some foods have a really high water content and help to keep us hydrated. There is this myth that is perpetuated online because it's just an easy recommendation to, well, drink more water. But drinking more water, does it actually equate to being healthier? This is a challenging question to address in high quality research studies, but there are some high quality research studies looking at increasing your water consumption on a variety of health outcomes. Who here has ever heard that if you want to lose weight, you should, well, drink more water? Of course you've heard that. Drinking more water is always everyone's answer answer for all of life's problems. Flat tire, drink more water. There have been 4 high-quality studies looking at water consumption's impact on weight loss. One study showed that it had absolutely no effect. Drinking more water, no effect on weight loss. 2 studies showed, yes, there's an effect. People lose more weight when they drink more water, plus go on a low-calorie diet. And the 4th of these studies looked at randomizing people to consume half a liter of water before every meal versus not. And at the end of the study, yes, the people who consumed half a liter of water before each meal actually did end up losing more weight compared to the controls. They lost a grand total of 1 kilogram, aka 2.2 pounds of body weight after 12 weeks. But surely drinking more water is going to be helpful for regulating your blood sugar. There are actually 2 high-quality studies that looked at fasting blood sugar. One study did show that a higher pre-meal water intake was associated with a lower fasting blood sugar. The other study looked at the impact of just increasing your water intake on fasting blood sugar, and it showed no effect. So in other words, who knows if it makes a difference? Who here has ever had a headache? Of course you have. And I'm sure someone told you, drink more water. Oh, you have a headache? Are you drinking enough water? Well, what is the deal with drinking more water and preventing headaches? There are actually 2 high-quality studies that look at just this very question. One of these high-quality studies showed that drinking more water has no impact on headaches. But the other study showed that increasing your water intake can improve your overall migraine-associated quality of life. However, drinking more water didn't change the number of migraines the participants had. If you've ever dealt with a urinary tract infection, you know how miserable it can be, but even more miserable is that annoying person who is telling you, oh, you need to be drinking more water, that's why you get those. 2 high-quality studies looked at increased water consumption with urinary tract infections. One study showed a positive effect on decreasing urinary tract infections, and the other showed, well, no effect. So it remains inconclusive. You want to know the best research-backed reason to increase your water consumption? It's if you make kidney stones. Research demonstrates nicely that increasing water consumption can decrease the recurrence of kidney stones. Makes sense because you are creating dilute urine, which decreases the risk that crystals form that ultimately form kidney stones. So there's a good chance that your doctor told you to drink water and to drink enough water. They probably couldn't tell you exactly what enough water is, but drinking more water, at least enough to produce 2 liters of urine a day, can help in reducing recurrences of kidney stones. But surely you'll just feel better if you drink more water. Well, there's a study that looked at just that question, and it showed that increasing your water consumption by 1.5 liters a day had no change on your overall quality of life. They showed that increasing water consumption by 1.5 liters a day. Now, to be fair, the studies that we have talked about, they're small. So it may be that increasing your water consumption does have a small but meaningful impact on certain things, and that because these studies were so small, they weren't powered sufficiently to detect those subtle improvements, which ultimately could end up making a difference. So if you enjoy drinking water and you feel better, by all means, as long as you're not encroaching in that 20 liters a day danger territory where you put yourself at risk for hyponatremia, it's unlikely to cause harm other than you're going to be visiting the bathroom a lot more frequently. Here's one thing I wish everyone understood about water consumption and urine. Your kidneys filter your blood of toxins. Now, who here has ever heard someone say, drinking more water will help filter out toxins? Lots of people like to talk about filtering out toxins. As I said, your liver is responsible for processing toxins, and yes, your kidneys do play a role in filtering them out. But drinking more water does not filter out more toxins. Why? In your kidneys, toxins are filtered from the blood in something called the glomerulus. It's only after that happens that the water you consume gets added to the urine. So in other words, drinking more water has no impact on the filtering out of toxins. The same toxins, the same amount of toxins are going to be filtered into your urine no matter how much water you're drinking. The only difference is that if you drink more water, those toxins are going to be surrounded by more water. Now, there is a case to be made for increasing your water consumption. Like I hinted at the beginning of the video, it's actually challenging to nail down how much water in terms of liters per day an individual should be consuming because we're all very different. We're all very different, and lots of things can impact how much water we should be drinking. Like, again, our activity levels, how much we're sweating, our environment, the foods that we eat, medications that you might be taking. Ironically enough, a lot of the people who tell you to drink more water will also tell you to listen to your body. And to that I say absolutely, because here's the thing. When it comes to how much water you should be drinking, your body has a pretty good mechanism built in for telling you when you need to drink, and that's called thirst. As you go throughout your day, you lose water from your body by exhaling and through sweat. And as that's happening, then the salt concentration in your blood goes up. Your brain detects that, and that is when you get the sensation of thirst to drink water. So if you're thirsty, drink water. That's a good signal that you need to be drinking more water. If you have thirst, it's built into our body. That being said, there are a few situations where there's a case to be made for increasing your water consumption above and beyond feeling thirsty. Number one is if you deal with dry mouth. There are a variety of medical conditions, medications that lead to dry mouth, decrease in saliva production, and this can have a negative impact on our oral health and put you at risk for cavities, plus it's just very uncomfortable. Drinking more water helps to lubricate the mouth and reduce these issues. Check out my video all about dry mouth. I go into the possible reasons for dry mouth and different treatment modalities, including drinking more water. You also may want to consider drinking more water if you are not pooping. If you have constipation, drinking more water may help you out. Water can be very helpful in lubricating our stools and making them easier to pass and moving through the digestive tract. So if you're dealing with constipation, make sure that you are drinking enough water. Again, how much? Well, maybe a little bit more than when you feel thirsty. There's not going to be a hard and fast number, however. Another case for being super mindful that you are drinking enough water is if you are an elderly adult. As we get older, some things are just not as sharp as they used to be, including that mechanism for feeling thirsty. Older adults may not feel thirsty when they need to drink water as readily as they did when they were younger. This is particularly an issue in the heat. During periods of extreme heat, the elderly are super vulnerable to heat-related illness because their thirst centers are not as sharp, if you will, as a younger person, so they may not drink enough water. If you're someone who works outdoors in extremes of heat, doing manual labor especially, or if you're active outdoors in extremes of heat, you definitely want to make sure you're taking in enough water because you're going to be sweating a lot, and if you don't stay hydrated, you are at risk for heat-related illnesses. As a side note, I have a whole video all about heat stroke where I go into detail all about that. Now, that being said, you can't just drink pure water in those circumstances because, well, you are at a greater risk for hyponatremia when you are sweating a lot of water and salt. So you want to make sure you're replenishing not just pure water, but also some sodium, some electrolytes. So some sort of oral rehydration solution like an electrolyte beverage can be particularly useful in those circumstances. But you guys come here for skin, hair, and nail tips, tricks, advice, learn about different conditions, and I've got to tell you, drinking more water is not the answer to any of these. All that's going to do is send you to the bathroom more frequently. I find it really interesting in my lifetime how people's attitudes towards drinking water have changed significantly. As many people my age wax on and on about, when I was a child and a teenager, we just did not go around drinking all of this water. And there's no evidence that we were any worse off for not always drinking water. I think the only time we really drank water throughout the day was a trip to the water fountain, which was like a whole big affair. Carrying water bottles around didn't start to become a thing, I remember, until I was in medical school. And I remember I used to joke with one of my classmates about how everybody in our class was bringing in, at the time, it was the Nalgene water bottle. Like, we would all have these big bottles of water and nobody was drinking them. It was almost like a status symbol. But over time, that idea that you need to be carrying water with you, drinking all this water, it became like this wellness mantra: drink more water. I don't think it's bad to drink more water, and I'm someone who drinks a lot of water. I drink roughly 3 liters of water a day. I'm pretty active, and I also eat a lot of hydrating foods, and I feel good doing that. So that's just what works for me. I really hope this video is helpful, especially for those of you who are like, I struggle to get in more water. If you're struggling to get in more water, is it because you don't feel thirsty? If you don't feel thirsty, are you at least drinking some water, and are you eating? If you're eating and consuming fluids, you're probably fine, and drinking more water, if it's making you miserable, stop doing it. Let me know in the comments, do you like drinking more water? Do you feel as though it helps you out? There is a possibility that it does have some impact that we're just not able to detect with the medical research that we have at this point, given its limitations. But all that to say, don't beat yourself up if you have not drank like 3 Stanley tumblers full of water by 6 p.m. or whatever the rule du jour around water drinking on the internet is at this moment in time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.